Welcome to the 12th week of this year's In Times Like These recap. Now, let's get into this. Owen Grant surprises Wanda and Udell Mitchell at their estate, informing them that Heidi won't be seeking legal action against Yvette. Yet, Owen wonders if Heidi threatened them to make Yvette change her mind. Wanda requests that she speak with Owen alone, attempting to convince him that Heidi didn't threaten them since she doesn't want to expose that Yvette lied about Max Russo forcing himself on her. Once Owen leaves, Udell tells his wife that they'll have to prepare to hand Isidore and Alan Russo their Russo Jewelers shares back. Zeke Franklin arrives at Heidi Russo's office, meeting Finnegan Burke, informing them that Adaku is selling portions of Trank into her product and that his superior, Ronnie Adams, knew about it all along. When Heidi suggests that Ronnie get out of the way so that Zeke takes his place, Zeke questions what she plans to do to him. Heidi tells Zeke not to worry about that. Later on, Ronnie is chased down and caught by police for the possession and sale of illegal substances. Quinlan Franklin surprises the Dorval family, informing them that Devante Torres threatened her, warning them that they could be in more danger. When she leaves, Raymond and Shelley warn Jeremiah not to push Devante to cause any more damage. As for Jeremiah, he believes that Devante's wrath will lead to his downfall. At the beachfront outside of Theodosia's palace, Pacho and his father Devante command Alan Russo to stop the party and leave the hotel. Alan claims that he didn't set the whole thing up, but before he proceeds to continue partying, Devante gets physical with Alan, warning him that he's messing with the wrong people. Pacho tells his father to release Alan, but Alan tries to tick Devante off even more. Suddenly, they hear a scream and notice that someone fatally overdosed on the beachfront. At the high school, Yulisa Torres asks JJ Dorval how he's doing after discovering that Yvette lied. JJ claims that he's okay, but Yulisa is unsure if that's the truth. He tells Yulisa that he doesn't need her or anyone else to check up on him. He goes on to state how she needs to check up on her father, fearing that Devante will try to wipe out his entire family. When JJ vows to protect his family from Devante, he walks off, worrying Yulisa. Zeke approaches his ex, Nichelle Torres, telling her that he wants to check up on her after hearing about what occurred at Theodosius's palace the other day. Nichelle tells her ex how she's not surprised that he wants to discuss the overdose, since it's right up his alley. She tells Zeke that a lot of things have happened in the hotel all throughout her life, expressing how she and her family shouldn't have to be blamed. In response, Zeke asks Nichelle if she's sure of that. Nichelle believes that Devante had everything under control in the past until Alan Russo brought a ton of troublemakers into the hotel. He states that he wishes Nichelle trusted him as much as she trusted her father. She responds that her father never let her down like Zeke has. Zeke answers that she might find that her father's human and not the superhuman she's always believed him to be, then walks off. At Theodosius's palace, Devante tries to reach Adaku, but she doesn't answer. Afterward, Devante leaves a message, asking how someone lost his life after using her product. Once he leaves the message, Pacho enters the room. Pacho reminds his father that since someone lost their lives on the hotel, guests have been leaving quickly, and that they need to make an announcement quick if they don't want the hotel to linger in bad publicity. Annoyed, Devante tells his son that he's not the head of the hotel, nor is he the head of the family. Pacho claims that he's not trying to take his father's place, but that he's trying to help him, which is why he came back home. Devante tells his son how he appreciates his help, but that he doesn't appreciate being blamed for what happened, especially when he claims that it was Alan's fault. Upon hearing Alan's name, Pacho tells Devante that blaming Alan is exactly what they'll tell the public. After Adaku ignores Devante's call, Quinlan enters. Adaku, assuming that Quinlan is trying to get a statement out of Devante, tells the reporter how she doubts that Devante will make a comment. She tells Adaku that if she got anywhere near Devante again, then he would attempt to strangle her. When Quinlan explains how Devante threatened her, Adaku offers Quinlan protection, which Quinlan reluctantly agrees to. After speaking with Adaku, Quinlan calls Pacho to tell him how they need to turn Adaku and Devante against one another in order to take them both down. Heidi enters Owen Grant's office to confirm that he told the Mitchells that she wouldn't pursue legal action against Yvette. He tells Heidi that he has, wondering if that was part of the agreement to get Yvette to drop the charges against Max. She denies this, telling him that the truth is that Yvette lied, and if she confesses, then he'll have to charge her. But since she notices how close he's grown to the Mitchells, he wonders if he would be able to pursue charges against Yvette if she admits to lying. Owen responds by telling Heidi to leave. Isabel Torres arrives at Theodosius's palace, requesting that Nichelle stay with her, fearing that her daughter is unsafe with Devante. As for Devante, he disagrees. Then Nichelle arrives, unwilling to leave her father. Defeated, Isabel tells her daughter that if Nichelle ever feels unsafe, then she'll come back to get her. Not long after Isabel leaves, Devante meets with Ataku, telling her that they need to have a serious conversation. Isidore and Alan arrive at Mitchell Law to get their Russo Jewelers shares back from Udell. Alan is confused as to what caused Udell to give the shares back. Since Isidore doesn't want to let his son know what he's truly up to, he suggests that Alan stop asking questions. When they get back to the family estate, Alan still has questions which Isidore is unwilling to answer. Suddenly, Alan notices that Pacho is on the news, speaking about the fatal overdose which occurred at Theodosius's palace. To their surprise, Pacho blames Alan for the tragedy. Yulissa calls Vanessa, wondering if JJ is around, telling her best friend that JJ is worrying her. Concerned, Vanessa asks Yulissa why she's worried about JJ, explaining what JJ told her when they last spoke. Disheartened, Vanessa thought that JJ understood that he can't freak out and to leave what he can't control into God's hands. Yulissa goes on to explain how JJ expressed that he'd protect his family from Devante himself. This confuses Vanessa, wondering exactly how JJ would even be able to protect them to begin with. Yulissa is unsure, but goes on to state how JJ had an agitated demeanor, wondering if he's still taking his meds. Vanessa doesn't want to believe it, but since JJ ran away before he received his schizophrenic diagnosis, Yulissa tells her friend that it's better to be safe than sorry, since JJ could become unpredictable if he gets off of his meds. Vanessa approaches her parents, informing her of what Yulissa said, expressing how JJ might be struggling. Jeremiah and Shelley assure Vanessa that they'll handle it, but Vanessa wonders if JJ might have a point, questioning if Devante will try to wipe their entire family out. Jeremiah and Shelley assure Vanessa that God will protect them and that as her parents, they won't let anything happen to her or JJ. When Vanessa walks away, Jeremiah expresses his aggravation, telling Shelley how this is the last thing he wanted his kids to go through. He goes on to share that he wants to pursue legal action against Devante. Upon hearing Pacho speak against Alan Russo, Quinlan calls Pacho to scold him, reminding him that they need to turn Devante and Adaku against each other. She goes on to state that it seemed like Pacho missed out on the perfect opportunity to do so when he blamed Alan for the fatal overdose. Pacho tells the reporter that the police department knows that Adaku is a Danjuma, stating that they'll have to trace the overdose back to her. Adaku tells Devante that she's been busy, which is an answer that he doesn't accept. He begins to ask Adaku why someone overdosed on the beachfront. She reveals to him that she's added tranq into the substances, which Devante expresses anger over, telling her that if she wants to do that, then it has to be away from his property. She tells Devante that he doesn't get to decide what she puts in her substances, but since she's selling it on his property. Adaku responds by telling Devante that he's getting full of himself, but Devante disagrees and shifts that on Adaku, telling her how she's getting sloppy and refuses to fall victim to it. This causes Adaku to state that she's not sloppy, scolding him for being reckless for threatening Quinlan, informing him that she had to offer the reporter protection. Even though Devante claims that he wanted to spook Quinlan, Adaku expresses that she doesn't want to take the chance, also warning him not to go after Zeke. This causes Devante to question why. Then she answers that Zeke has raised in a position that she needs him to take over, since the person in his previous position failed her. Zeke enters Finnegan's office, angry that he spoke on a press conference informing the public that there's a trank issue. Because of the press conference, Zeke tells the police commissioner that he fears that his life is in danger. Even though Finnegan assures Zeke that he'd be protected, Zeke doesn't trust him at all. Suddenly, an officer walks in to inform Finnegan that Ronnie's life was taken in police custody, which troubles Zeke. Can't get enough of the crazy world of In Times Like These? Then, treat yourself to a binge watch of In Times Like These. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. You're not ready for what's to come, but tune in anyway.